To the latest on the Israel-Gaza war, and that temporary truce between Israel and Hamas is now in place. Remember, it's a 4-day temporary ceasefire. But the big breaking news right now is that initial group of 13 hostages expected to be women and children are said to be freed. However, it's now known that 12 Thai nationals who were held by the Hamas have been released. This was announced by Thailand's Prime Minister, and this will be followed by 39 Palestinian detainees held in Israel being released. This is part of a deal mediated by Qatar that includes the 4-day pause in the fighting by Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The exchange deal will see 50 hostages and 150 Palestinian detainees released over the next 4 days. Well, to talk more about this and bring us the latest, we're joined by Alan Sorensen, Middle East correspondent, Danish daily newspaper. Thank you so much, Alan, for joining us. And tell us, what are you hearing? We were waiting for news of the 13 Israeli hostages being released. The news has come, the Thai Prime Minister confirming that 12 of their citizens have been released and are being handed over to the Red Cross.
Yes, we hear that the Thai foreign workers who were kidnapped on the 7th of October, they have already been released. They have crossed the border from Gaza into Egypt. And what we hear just a minute ago is that the Red Cross is making its way from a hospital, from one of the 4 hospitals. We don't know exactly which hospital, in Khan Yunis, which is just a few kilometers from the Gaza border. And they have the 13 Israeli hostages with them. So soon we will see the cars arriving to the Rafah border, where they will be taken to the Egyptian side, and from there with the Red Cross to a group of Israeli soldiers waiting for them.
Right, Alan, it must be a very, a time full of anxiety and stress for the family members who are waiting for news of their loved ones who've been held hostage.
Yes, it's been a stressful few days because no one has known until this afternoon who is going to be set free today and who is not. I know that the families of those, or family members of those who are being freed today, they just got a phone call an hour and a half ago, or just a short time ago, and they were notified that they need to go now to one of or to different hospitals inside Israel, where the hostages will be brought to on a later stage today.
Right, and the families must be waiting for that phone call. Also, is there hope that this temporary ceasefire could perhaps extend longer than 4 days?
There is a small window of another between 1 and 3 days after these 4 days, all in all. But the estimation is in Israel that it won't last longer than a week, all in all. I mean, 4 days plus at a maximum 3 days. And this is due to the reason that Hamas doesn't want to release all the hostages, because it leaves Hamas in a position where it cannot put any pressure on Israel. And Israel also says it wants to continue its military operation inside Gaza.
All right, Alan Sorensen, thank you so much for joining us there with the very latest. Well, earlier today, the ceasefire came into place. As Alan was telling us, there is hope that it could perhaps go on for a week at the most, but then the fighting will resume after that. Here's a report on when the ceasefire finally came into place.
After more than 6 weeks of the brutal Israel-Hamas war, which has seen thousands of civilian deaths, finally the temporary ceasefire came into effect in Gaza on Friday. Within hours, humanitarian aid trucks carrying medical supplies, fuel and food entered Gaza. Allowing entry of aid into Gaza is one of the main points of this Israel-Hamas truce deal. However, explosions were heard in northern Gaza moments after the ceasefire came into effect. That wasn't all. Israeli troops fatally shot 2 Gazans and wounded 11 others as they headed toward northern Gaza despite warnings by Israel not to move towards the main combat zone.
إلى سكان قطاع غزة، الحرب لم تنتهي، الهدنة الإنسانية مؤقتة. منطقة شمال قطاع غزة هي منطقة حرب خطيرة وممنوع التجول بها من أجل سلامتكم. عليكم أن تبقوا بالمنطقة الإنسانية الموجودة في جنوب قطاع غزة.
People were seen walking back to their destroyed homes in northern Gaza, hoping to get back belongings they were forced to leave when the Israeli airstrike started about 6 weeks ago.
راجعين على بيوتنا نشوف نفقد أوضاعنا أحوالنا كيف بيوتنا، نجيب أواعي نجيب غيارات نجيب اللي بدنا إياه، مش لاقيين غاز مش لاقيين أكل مش لاقيين شرب. يعني الوضع مأساوي جدا، الواحد يعني يروح يموت أحسن له.
3 days of the truce period remain, and any escalation in civilian casualties will put Israel under the scanner and most likely draw condemnations from across the globe. With Vishal Vivek, Parmeshwar Bava for NDTV.